start recording and see what happens. All right. This is Attack of the Blurs. New episode. This is Dion, and today I have a special guest. A cosplay connoisseur, a black nerd, Jabbar. Please introduce yourself.
What's going on, everybody? I am Jabbar, also known as Barr Foxxx. That's with 2 R's, 2 X's.
Gotcha. And so initially we met at North DeKalb.
Yes.
At North DeKalb, and you was wearing the Superman what show was that? It was the clone, the young Superman.
Yeah, the young Superman.
Right.
Superboy from
Young Justice?
Young Justice.
It was Young Justice. Got it. And it was funny because I didn't even notice until I was talking, and then I noticed, I was like, wait a minute. This guy's got the shirt, and I was like, wait, he's got the jacket, and then it just connected one thing after the other, and that's why I was like, yo, he's Superboy. So that was pretty dope.
That day I was doing a panel, so I wanted to be subtle and comfortable,
right,
in costume,
right.
We were gonna be there for like hours, so.
Right, because there's levels to cosplay, right? Levels. You don't want to be at level 10 all day.
You can't.
Yeah.
And for those of you that can do it, I love you and I admire you, but whoa.
Yeah, like and you'll see some people when you go to the conventions, they have a full like armor, and then they're just walking around. I'm like, how long are you in that for? You know?
But they need handlers.
Yes,
they need handlers.
Yes.
They need people to hydrate them.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. The hydrating, man.
I've seen it was a guy that was at one of the shoots, and he came as Beast.
Oh.
And he actually had the blue suit, like when he just fully in Beast mode.
Right.
And the face and everything, but the mouth didn't open up wide.
Oh.
And we would have water breaks, and he couldn't even get the water into the mouth. So we literally had to like let him stand there, and we poured water as it dripped down the side of his costume, and little droplets of it got into his mouth.
Wow,
so
that's intense,
that's
bro.
That's intense. That's dedication, but it's not functional.
It's not. Yeah. It's not.
Yeah. So.
And functional cosplay is a challenge. You know, it's a challenge. But anyways, I'm talking like I'm the cosplayer. So how did you get into cosplay?
Man.
How did you get it? When did you find out you was a nerd? Like when did you find out you was like, this is for me?
Okay, so I realized I was a nerd back in the day. I was reading comic books, so I was one of those kids that got along with every group. And I found interest in every group. So if you go back in time and you talk to people, everyone is going to say I was a part of their group. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
I think that's a good thing because a lot of times people find it hard to socialize, period.
Yeah.
You know? And if it was easy for you, that's good. You know? Like, because some people, it was very hard for them to socialize, you know?
I loved it. So it was something like, so I didn't get bored because like this week I would be hanging with this group, and then I would be the math elites, and then I would be with the nerds, then the real popular people. Then I was a dancer, so we hung with the dancers, and then I was in the music, so I hung with the people. We were working on music and art. So, and then I was smart. When I was younger, I don't know about now, but when I was younger, I was smart, so I was in.
There's a lot of things you were when you was younger than right now. You're like, I'm not so sure I can do it anymore.
I can't do it.
Yeah,
advanced classes. I was in gymnastics, so I just really went in so many groups. But I know I love comics, so I had a couple of friends. We would just sit
and read
the comics. And
what was the first? When did you first realize you love comics? What was the first thing that caught your eye? You was like, what is that?
You know what? Teen Titans really resonated with me. It was like I loved them. I was young. I liked what they did. I found the old copies when they first started, the first embodiment of it.
Right.
And I was like, this is what I'm talking about. And I know the cartoon versions and things like that people like Teen Titans Go and stuff. I like those. But they're not as intense, and they have all the angst as the 90s comics. As they went from Teen Titans to Titans. It was just putting
so you started on DC. The
first I started on DC. Yeah, so that old fight when what's better, Marvel and DC. I know I get
in different areas. One is better than the other. in
like
different
that.
areas. Because let's be honest,
I like
animated. Let's be honest. DC at one point was the gold standard
DC
when it
was
came to
killing it.
animated. When they had the Batman series,
Killing it.
that was the classic. Like and it was stylized too. I don't know if you went back and look at
I
it.
did.
They stylized it in so like just artistically. The shadow of like the way Batman was a shadow, and they would do the edges of Batman so rectangular. You know, like the 90 degrees angle.
Killing
It was like art. You
They
know.
took their time with those animations. They really, really made sure the story was good. They gave us the angles. They drew them well. It was very rich. The rich comics. Even Young Justice was done so well.
See, Young Justice, I was such a fan of.
Yeah.
I mean, the first season of Young Justice was very well written and just executed perfectly. Like, on the edge of my seat, you know?
Every week, I'm like checking it out, and I can't say that any animation has me going back like that.
Yeah.
I'm looking forward. I don't know if we're getting teased. There's always a teaser out there talking about it's coming back. I don't know if it's actually true. I always run into something
About Young Justice?
Yeah, Young Justice. Somebody always says Young Justice is coming back. I run into a post that could be something that just get me stuck on stupid or hopeful. But yeah. So after that, that was my thing. I was reading comics. So then my parents pissed me off, love them dearly, because I was buying so many comics.
Right.
So we made a deal that they would stop doing some of their habits, which is nothing bad, just kind of like going out partying, and I would stop buying so many comics, and we were all
kind of like
coming in.
Yeah.
I quit for a while, and they didn't quit.
Oh, so you was like, all right, so let's go back then.
So after I took a break, I was involved in so many things, but it took me a while to circle back. And when I circled back with a vengeance, because then I had all these back issues to find.
Right.
And that became a thing to do. Going to the comic book stores, rifling through the old boxes.
I do have to say, the back issues, they get you, man. They get you. You're sitting there thinking, oh, I'm just good. You go back and you're like, oh crap, I got to read all of this just to be on time. And what I found with my comic addiction, because my comic addiction was much more recent than yours. The first time I ever even got into the whole nerd arena was so I grew up in Ivory Coast, West Africa, right? So I would go, the way things work is that the local corner store, like, from time to time they would sell different things, but that's where you would get most of your stuff from, know, because if you want to get groceries, for example, we don't go to a Kroger's or to a supermarket. We just go to the open market to get groceries. So whenever you want to get candy and stuff like that, then you go to the corner store, right? The guy in the corner store. So I was going there once, and the guy just had like a little book on top, and it was red, and it was Goku on there, and I'm looking at that book like, I want that. You know, like you're a kid, everything you're like, I want that. So I was like, how much is that? He tells me how much it is. I'm like, I got you. Next week I came back, money was ready, bought it. And then every month a new issue will come out, so I will go back and buy it, and that's when I really got into like my nerdy side. But U.S. comics, surprisingly, when I was in Ivory Coast, weren't available. So I didn't even know.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't even know. I knew of Superman, Batman, but I didn't have like the comic book. Do you see what I'm saying? It's not until I got here in the U.S. that I started actually reading comic books.
Well, how old were you when you got here?
When I came here, I was about 13, but I didn't start then. I only started maybe like 6 years ago.
Wow.
That's when I actually started buying comics and reading. You know what I'm saying? So I'm fairly fresh in my comics, but in terms of animated series, for example, the Spider-Man animated series made it to Ivory Coast.
Okay.
I watched that back then. You know what I'm saying? And certain things made it back there. I don't think the Batman series made it there, but Spider-Man, I definitely remember.
What about Static Shock? Did it make it?
Static didn't make it.
Dang,
Well, when I was there, Static hadn't come out. The anime series hadn't come out. It's when I came here that the animated series started coming out. So I don't know if it ended up making it back there. I would have loved for it too,
Man.
but I don't know. I gotta ask someone who's still back and be like, "Yo, did y'all see this?"
Yeah.
And they will let me know. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, so I didn't get into the comics until much more recently. So it's much more fresh in my memory.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So, do you get a chance to get to the comic book stores and rifle through the hard copies? Because everything's digital now.
Everything is no. I don't. It's weird. I don't like reading digital U.S. comics.
Okay.
I like the physical.
Right.
The mangas, I kind of have no choice, but I will much rather have the physical. And have a niece that I got into. She started liking mangas. I tried to get her into anime and stuff. And then Soul Eater. Did you watch Soul Eater?
I didn't watch it religiously, but
right.
I did see it.
That seemed to connect with her.
Okay.
And she likes the physical also. Like if I buy her the she'll read that. So I don't know. Perhaps the physical still is affecting kids nowadays. If you just give them something, I think
I can't explain it. For me, it was I used to always say, "Oh, it's the art," but of course you can see art on the computer. But I don't know. Was it something about having it in your hand, flipping through the pages, touching it, flipping back? It was just something about it. If I had to sit down and put it into words, I don't know if I have the right words to explain
what it is
and why it is.
Yeah.
But I definitely was a fan of that, and it was like a treasure hunt. It's a treasure hunt.
Yes.
I mean, finding that one issue that's missing, that's going to connect those two.
Yo.
Or that side story that you need to find. When you found that one hard to find issue.
Yeah.
I mean, it got to the point, I was asking, screw roses for Valentine's Day. I'm like, can you
get me?
Yeah, can you find this comic book?
Oh man.
I mean, that's to show me how you really love me.
Yeah, can you give me issue 5 of this? Because I cannot find it anywhere.
Really? That's a true story.
No, that's good. That's good. And you know what? Talking about this actually jogs my memory because I remember reading one U.S. comic when I was in Ivory Coast, and it was an X-Men comic. Just one, and I don't even know how I ended up with it. I think my cousin, some of my cousin's friends, somebody had it, and it was just like, "Oh, you might like this" or something like that. And I read that religiously. It was just that one issue.
And you kept reading it over?
I kept reading it over because it was like you. I don't know if you remember this. There was a villain in X-Men where it's like everything he did was a game, and he trapped the X-Men into like a game.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, I read that so much, and it was in French. And you read that one, and you have no context for anything else that happened. So you're like trying to decipher things while you're reading it.
So that opened your imagination, like what could happen. Were you trying to get to the other books? Were you reaching out to your cousin?
Man, I was trying to find out what cat. So that was like Wolverine was in there, and there's a few characters. I was like, okay, so this guy, what is he? Like, this was my first introduction to X-Men. And it's that one comic. But I think his name was like Arcade, the villain.
Arcade.
It was,
I think it is Arcade.
Yeah, his name was like Arcade. And I'm telling you, that was the one. And you just keep reading it because I didn't have any other, so you just read that one.
Funny, but that's like those feel-good moments. That's when you can think back to that, even rereading that over and over again. You probably saw so many things in that book. You probably read something different or saw something different almost every time. Not every time, but almost every time. And it was just taking you to a world, and your imagination get to open up too. Yeah. Because you didn't have anything before or after.
Yeah,
and, that is what I think cosplay is about. Okay. That's why when people try to put things in a box and limit. I love your story because it ties into the canon versus non-canon stuff. What you were exposed to is what you were exposed to, so that's your source. So I'm running into people talking about, oh, this is canon, that's not canon. Well, it depends on where you were raised, when you were raised,
right.
if you watched animation,
or not.
if you did comics, if you only started in the movies, if you only started with TV shows. Certain characters have changed throughout the years.
Definitely.
So if I read the comics and I liked Nick Fury back in the 80s, it was a white guy in David Hasselhoff.
Yeah.
If I started with the movies,
with the thingy on the eye.
if I started in the movies, it's Samuel L. Jackson.
Yeah.
If I'm looking at Kid Flash from Teen Titans and some other stuff from back in the day, it's the red-haired white kid.
Yeah.
If you only started with the Flash,
the series,
it's
the black
guy.
Yeah.
So when people say, "Oh, it's canon," my question to people is, if you were told, "Hey, I'm having a party for some 15-year-olds,"
right?
Generation Z does not really read a lot of comics.
Yeah.
They just don't. They get their stuff from TV.
Right.
And animation. Well, TV and TV shows. So I'm like, who would you bring as your canon characters for a party of 15-year-old or 12-year-old and younger?
Yeah.
And that's the conflict I'm having with people. It's not a bad conflict, but the discussion.
Yeah.
People are constantly like, "Oh, I'm canon," and I'm like, "Well, canon for you is this."
It's different. Yeah, and you can even look at even the films, like some people, Batman, like look at the different generations of Batman. Some people were Adam West. That was their Batman.
Exactly.
And then we ended up having what's his name? Michael Keaton. That was the Batman I knew.
Right.
And the Joker I knew was what's his name with the eyebrows? Jack Nicholson.
So if you looked at it like that, or even Penguin. Let's look at some Penguin right now.
Yeah.
Now we have the sleek Penguin from Gotham.
We do.
Was it Danny DeVito?
Danny DeVito.
DeVito, the short round. It's like even body types and shapes and looks.
It's different.
It's different. So to go and tell somebody it has to be this way because I
grew up on it this way
is actually a little egotistical, a little narcissistic in a way. I mean, it's thinking within a box. I try to get people to the best of my ability to think outside the box and understand that there are different embodiments. You can't even look, if you look at the comics, it's like Earth 52, Earth this, Earth that. It's just like switches around. You can't even sit down and say this is the only way. So if I only was exposed to something, that's my reference. So that is my source.
Right.
It doesn't mean it's your source.
Right.
So that's why I love that you were telling me that story about where you come from, because it's like, hey, you had a whole different experience to some of the stuff.
Yeah, a lot of it, I saw it a little differently. And what you're talking about makes a lot of sense, because even if you look at it from a creator's perspective, right, you cannot write the character the same way for 50 to 100 years. Okay. It's not going to happen. People are going to lose interest. You're going to lose interest. You're just not going to want to write that character anymore.
Society is changing. Races are changing.
Right.
I mean, by 2040, I looked at some pictures. It's projected to look a certain way.
Yeah.
It's not what it looks like now.
Yeah.
And when I was in school, I studied Shakespeare a lot. I guess I don't know if that goes into my nerd side, but one of my favorite lines was "No more masterpieces," and so people were in class having problems understanding and interpreting Shakespeare because it's written in a certain way.
Right,
you have to read it. You have to understand it. So a guy, and I forgot his name, and I should be smacked, but he was like, there are no more masterpieces. So basically, you can tell these stories over and over again, but you have to reinterpret them. You have to you have to speak in ways that people understand today if you want them to get the story. Now, if you want them to just hold on to the tradition of it, just give it to them as it was written. But if you want them to understand the concept and the story, then you got to make it relevant, to who they are and what's going on now. And so we did like a whole thesis on No More Masterpieces and how things can't stay in this realm, because for me that wasn't growth. I work in a creative field. I just don't have the luxury to sit in one spot and say this is how it's going to be. You know, if we even associate that to businesses like Blockbuster.
Oh boy,
love them. If anybody from here is from Blockbuster.
Do they even exist anymore?
They do not exist.
It does not exist anymore.
They don't exist. But was that not the spot?
It's man.
Was that not the spot?
It was.
That was the spot, but they refused to adjust and address the needs of the people.
Yeah.
They said, "Oh, we want people to come in. We're not mailing something. We're not doing what." I think they started mailing things, but we're not doing this. We're not doing digital. And now
they got wiped out.
They're wiped out. So you holding on to that old concept. It's a risk. It's a risk. It's the same thing with trying new stuff.
I think what it is people make it too personal. That's what it is.
Yes.
Is they make it too personal. You know what I'm saying? It's like, yes, you grow up and you see certain cartoons in a certain way, right? Like you grow up with G.I. Joe looking a certain way. So now that there's a G.I. Joe movie, you're like, why doesn't this guy look like Shipwreck? What doesn't this guy look like? You know? Exactly. And it's like, well, you know, you're taking it too personal. You know?
Personal.
And there's truths to both sides. Like, for example, if we want to talk about Transformers for a second. When I watch if you watch now the cartoon of Transformers, you'll be like, how did I watch this as a kid?
Exactly.
Like, how did I possibly watch this as a kid?
It was everything.
It was everything when you was a kid. But so when we come now to the franchise of Transformers, when I watch the first Transformers movies, I'm like, this is great. It gives me the same excitement that I had when I was a kid, because there's a sense of wonder. Like in kid movies, I don't know, this is totally we're getting off topic a little bit.
We're going to get on and off topic. We just going to talk.
Right. But in kids movies, I remember like watching Goonies, right?
Yes.
And what made me love Goonies is the sense of adventure, right? The sense of the unknown that these kids might discover, you know? And even when you look at E.T., there's this same sense of like, oh my gosh, there's an alien here, and it's like they have to do something. It gives you a certain, like, I don't know, it gives you like this feeling on the inside.
It's wonderment.
Right.
That's what it is.
It's
like, wow, what, like the world holds so many treasures, and
that's what it is.
I could like run into something great, or I can discover, you know, that
the possibilities, right? Yes. And so when I watch the first Transformers, it gives me that same feeling with the kid. With Wiki, is like, I gotta have this car. I want this car. He's just a kid that wants to have a car so he can be cool in high school. Who hasn't felt that? Like, we've all felt that way. And this whole world gets unleashed upon him, you know? And that movie captured that sense. It did. Like that. Especially, I mean, I'm gonna get really into it. Like, the music. So when you listen to the music, and I remember the theme song for when the Autobots come is like da 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 da, right? So they play this song, and then you see the director has like something crash, right? And then the moment it crashes, there's a truck that passes by, and next thing you know, there's another truck, and you're like, oh, that thing is this truck. This is Optimus. Without him even explaining it to you,
you can feel it.
It feels you.
It resonated well. That movie for me, the pacing, it was fast. It moved so fast, and they shot it so wonderfully to me. But it was very close up that it kept me wanting more. Like I just couldn't even really gauge what was going on sometimes, but I wanted to. So I found myself like looking in the theater and at the screen. And at that time, I needed that and I wanted that. It was excitement. It was action.
Right.
Yeah, so I totally get it. I was the same way.
Yeah, and that's what it is. I think what's between the people that want the old school and the new school, if you're able to capture the feeling, because that's really what mattered when you was a kid, is the feeling that you got from watching it. If you're able to capture that feeling with your rendition, your current rendition, I think there will be some middle ground there between the old school and new school.
Go for it. Cosplay your way.
Yeah.
Because I tell people, you know, I'm like, I don't have a problem with you doing your version of it. Just don't tell other people that their version is wrong.
See,
that's the
I love
thing.
that. I love that. Yeah,
Like,
because if you say you're wrong, someone's right.
Somebody's right. Yeah.
And that totally takes everything away from that person that works so hard to participate. They just want to be part of the culture the same way you're part of the culture. You know?
And if you tell certain people that they can only cosplay certain characters that they look like, it's like, who do we really look like? I mean, these characters were drawn to perfection. These bodies.
I don't know anybody that look like Superman.
Who,
let's be honest.
Who looks like that?
Yeah.
Whose body is like that?
Yeah.
Who's shaped like that? Who can fight in half the stuff that they fight in? Who can even move?
Right. You're right.
I cast as well with some of the stuff I do, and I'm just like, you have to kind of make it more realistic. The comics were not real people. The dimensions are not real. Even if you read, have you ever just read the stats for people, and you'll, like a Green Lantern, and it'll say, oh, he's 6'5" and 247 pounds. Like, if you just go and read Wikipedia and stuff, you'll read these things, and you're like, that doesn't, as a human.
Yeah, these people are.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Genetically modified.
You can't be that tall, or you can't weigh that much if you are that tall, or you can't be that short and weigh that much and look that good. Like, it's
because you know, the people that wrote the stories were more focusing on the stories rather than, you know, and then when you draw, you want to make it as visually appealing as possible, which you should. And we'll talk about, but and even that, you can fall into some pitfalls. So I'm listening to a podcast called what's it called, Masters of Scale, and the guy who does it, his name is Reid Hoffman. He's a guy, one of the creators or founders of LinkedIn, and he committed to a 50-50 gender balance in the podcast, where he talks to people who created companies and the trouble they went through to make it, you know? And every episode, first episode, if episode A is a man, episode B will be a woman. Do you see what I'm saying? We now are aware, well, some of us are aware that this is important.
Yes.
But back when a lot of these comics and a lot of this content was created, I don't know if it was willful ignorance or if some people really did not know, but the gender balance wasn't there, right? Most of the creators were male. Most of the creators were straight. Most of the creators were men. Were white men. You know? So we end up with characters that, even though the intent behind the character is very good, some of the things don't quite do so well. Like, if you look at all the females in any comic book world, they're all perfect. I mean, long flowy hair. You know, you got the small ass waist and perfectly 360 round breasts.
Yes.
Who is like that?
I don't know.
That is like, what?
And to get that look costs a lot of money.
And so I'm seeing now that people are trying more and more to look like the comic book character in real life. Now, the guys that created that, I don't necessarily think that was their intent, to get people in real life to start trying getting plastic surgery and going to all these extreme to look like that. But that's what we ended up with.
Yeah,
you know?
I think so. I don't know what they were after. I think they were trying to draw their dream girl, woman, or something.
I can see that.
I think that they were putting that out on paper, and that's the place in animation and cartooning and drawing. I think that they were like, well, I can do this here, and if they had a significant other, that person wouldn't get upset per se if it's in a comic. But you're drawing these beautiful, voluptuous, like you said, these breasts, this waist, these hips, everything is just like
immaculate.
Wow, immaculate.
Yeah.
And those are not specs for the regular person.
Right.
They're just not.
Right.
Which is like, again, when I talk to these people as a person that works in the industry, and they tell me I'm coming in and I'm canon, then I say, well, you're not. because this person has this body and this
Right.
person doesn't have this going on, and you do. They have
Yeah.
perfect teeth.
Yeah.
They have perfect hair.
Yeah.
They have perfect. You don't.
Yeah, they
So
have everything.
again, let people cosplay the way they need to cosplay, and that's why I came up with Cosplay Your Way.
Right, and I love that because I didn't even think about it until I started hearing you guys saying it, and I met y'all, and I met Talon, and I was just like, oh, this is true, you know, because it can become kind of like a insider club if you don't look just like Green Arrow, but you show up in the Green Arrow outfit. They'll look at you and be like, you're not quite that. And it's like, so now what do you have to do? You have to go drink down 10 shakes, protein shakes, and live for 10 years so you can look like Steve McQueen?
Right.
Just so you can be part of the club?
Yeah, just so some random person can say, wow, you look just like the character that I remember, that I grew up watching, that I use as a source.
Yeah.
Because Green Arrow's a good example.
Yeah.
What do we do? Justin Hartley was Green Arrow from Smallville. Then we have the one now. They totally look different. You got like a slimmer look. The ones from the comic. That I remember, the beard.
Yeah, he was
the older
a Robin Hood type of guy,
Yeah,
you know,
so-
with the feather and everything.
Feather. So it's like, which one
is Green Arrow?
is Green Arrow? And which one am I going to say? Oh, you're the wrong. All of them are okay. And it's just amazing that in our culture, where I'm thinking we were already an oppressed group of people, you know, the thought process of the nerds, or the comic book nerds, definitely, or comic nerds, we all live in our parents' basement. We're awkward.
Yeah.
We're not going to get a relationship.
Yeah.
Poor babies.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's changing now.
Oh, it's completely different.
Yeah.
Everybody's beautiful.
Everybody's trying to be a nerd.
Bodied out.
Right.
Nerd is chic.
Yeah. You hear like someone like Kylie be like, I'm a nerd. I'm like, are you? I mean, I don't want to question, but I'm just saying.
You'd be like, I've been doing this for a long time. Don't come and steal my thunder.
Yeah, if we're going to sit here and have this conversation, are we really going to be able to come at me?
No.
You know, and I don't want to.
No, we can go here.
So,
because a lot of people are nerds in the sense that they wear sexy costumes,
cosplay,
and
right?
cosplay.
Yeah,
and it's like, no, you're a beautiful person
wearing
the costume,
and that is fine.
And I love that. I love it too. But don't claim to be in all aspects of it.
Exactly. And if you're that, people, I don't. And then one thing that, so if you're that, just be that.
Be
you know.
that. And we need that. We need that too.
We need that. I'm not gonna be like, oh no, what are you doing wearing the Mystique costume? No, you're doing great. High five.
Kill
you
it.
know,
Kill it.
You're doing the thing. You know. And then if I ask you about it and you don't really know, it's like, I don't really know, but I really like this character, so I wanted to dress up like it. That's honest.
That's honest, and I love that.
That's honest and it's genuine. What do you want me to say to that?
Nothing.
You know, I can't say nothing. Because honestly, that's how a lot of us got even started into this nerdiness. Yeah. We saw a character that we liked, and we gravitated towards that character, and that was the gateway. It opened the door for us to do more stuff. So I really like what Cosplay Your Way, and I wish... the beautiful people that wear the cosplay should embrace the people that don't necessarily look like the character, but love the character and dress as the character also. Let's embrace each other, you know? Let's not, it's not a...
No, I always tell people in my message, it's like, let's twart, I'm not using the right words. Let's stop. Let's use the word stop. So let's stop the naysayers. Let's keep them... Stop. You have to stop yourself if you find yourself doing it.
Yes.
And let's stop the people that's demeaning others or telling you can't cosplay something because of your race, your age, your gender, your size. Yeah. And, you know, I've recently added experience. I am in no way saying do stuff sloppy. I am a person that I want people to do their best. Right. But I do understand my best, your best, someone else's best is a different level. Just come and bring your A game. It's all a work in progress.
Yep, that is very true.
So do not put people down. Now, I understand if we're doing a photo shoot and I want a certain look, I have that right. Right. I pick the people that I think fit the mold
Right,
from
right.
my
Your
thought
vision,
process
what you
and my
wanna do.
vision.
Right.
But walking out and telling someone else that they're not right or demeaning someone, I'm out to stop that in every way that I can. Because again, as African American men,
Oh yeah.
we were just stuck to do the characters that some body decided we could do.
Yeah.
We're limited, and then I honestly don't look like any of the characters that have been created from my source.
I agree.
So who would I do?
Yeah.
If I did that, I would be stuck.
And us black nerds, we've had some issues. It's like so as black male nerds, we have people we can look up to. We've over time we've seen them, right? We've seen maybe not necessarily in too much of a positive light. You got people like Urkel, right? You got like that you've seen on TV. You got people like Urkel. You got people like even what's his name character in Blank Man he was a nerd.
Yeah,
he was totally a nerd. But I mean, these are comedic ways. But at least we saw someone. You know what I'm saying? Black girl nerds. I can't even think too much of one image in media like that they've had over time, you know?
Yeah,
And
I'm drawing a blank. I don't. I'm sure there's one if
we really dig, right?
But as for a popular black girl nerd,
now we're getting maybe like Ava DuVernay. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
She's definitely, you can classify her in that lane. You're getting people like Lupita. Lupita dressed up as and went around.
Ran around.
So people,
I was like, that's amazing.
That's dope. So you were probably dancing with Lupita and like San Diego Comic Con had no idea.
God, that's what I'm talking about. That's how you get out there and enjoy life, and that's how you create your buzz, and that's how you make people love you more.
Yeah,
she didn't have to do that.
No.
And to choose a place like that, and to do that, and then to put the video out, expose herself on the video, and show it, and put the people in it. Is amazing. I
mean, she was with her people. She went out there and had fun with her people. So if she wasn't Lupita, she would have done the same thing.
Exactly.
So it's just showing it. And so we didn't, like, as I'm thinking of film, right? I don't remember a black nerd movie that, like, until Dope. Did you see Dope?
I didn't see Dope.
Dope was essentially a black, the kid was a nerd. Like, through and through, he was black, he had an afro, he was a nerd. His friends were nerds. Do you see what I'm saying? And I was just like, thank you, because I connect with that guy. You see what I'm saying? What he's going through in high school and everything. If I'd seen this in high school, I'm like, this is me. This guy represents me. See, you know what I'm saying?
I need to check that out, because most of the other representations in TV and stuff, if you were a nerd, it was just originally, from when I was growing up, it was okay. This was the weirdo, the awkward person. Then it got to the point where they were trying to transform you into someone else. I guess you like
Urkel.
Sexy.
Urkel turns into
So it was that whole thing that you can be transformed, and you can be cleaned up, and they can cut your hair. Do that. So it's never just living in the space that you are a nerd. It's okay to be a nerd and enjoy yourself as you are. It was either ostracize you completely, use you for homework or things like that, or transform you into this other person.
And I think a lot of that had to do with the way media was done here in the U.S. Like, we even talked a few times, I talked to a few people about the fact that right now, the only show that you have on TV right now that takes place in college is like Grownish.
Quad.
Yeah, and the Quad. You have the Quad and you have Grownish.
Yeah.
Everything else is either in high school or like after. Do you see what I'm saying? And they have these casts. It's like a caste system. If you were born a nerd, your children will be a nerd, and so on and so on. If you're a cheerleader, everyone, it's a caste system that no one can break out of.
You can't break out of it, and if you do if people find out you're from the nerd world, trying to get into the other world, they ostracize you or make it more difficult for you.
And what if you're a star football player and you actually like Dungeons and Dragons? Like, what's up with that? How do you collide those two worlds together? You know?
I don't know. Well, I did it, but I don't know. Like it was, I was so ignorantly, and I say this in a good way. I had such ignorant bliss on my side. So I had a very, very supportive family. I had a very, very extroverted family.
Yeah.
Not had, but I have. So if I woke up and I said I wanted to do something, my mother and father was like, cool.
Go ahead.
Yeah, let's try it.
And that's lovely. That's lovely. You know, it's a lot of people don't necessarily have that, you know? And a lot of people, especially speaking from the African community, once upon a time arts used to be a big part of our culture. I still think it is, but we look at it differently now. And I think part of the reason why we look at it differently is because of colonization. So, for example, once upon a time, the person who made who actually carved the mask, like different masks and build it, was a big thing, you know, for that person. That person knew how to do it. He would teach his son or teach his daughter. Like, you know, it was a big thing, and they were regarded in a special status in that community, in our society, in our like social structure. Do you see what I'm saying? So, those people are basically dying out. Do you see what I'm saying? Because the importance that we used to give that in our social structure has been taken away now. So now we give more weight to the same things the colonizers, if you want to quote Black Panther, the colonizers give weight to, you know? And so you'll end up with a kid that's probably very talented in terms of artistic, like is a very talented artist, but his parents will be like, no art. Do this. Do you see what I'm saying? And I get the life of a struggling artist. I get that. But what we are doing now is that when you look at, so let's slide into Black Panther with this.
Okay.
When I saw Black Panther and I saw the architecture, I almost cried.
Amazing.
I almost cried because I know the way certain buildings used to be built before colonization. Do you see what I'm saying? And when I saw the way they did it, I was like, this is it. This is the way we used to build before they came, but we changed to build like them now. And the way he portrayed it is that we didn't change. What if we did not change to build like them, but rather we used the new materials, the new technology to build the way we build? This is what it will look like.
Wow.
And I don't think a lot of people, like African Americans, may not have caught it like that, but I caught it. I look at them like, this is amazing. Like, I almost wanted to cry at that moment.
That's a good
you know? And so, unfortunately, the African culture now is really taken away from the art, and I'm hoping that things like Black Panther will change that around, that we will try to make an effort to try to build and draw and do everything from our own lens rather than from the lens of the colonizers.
Wow.
You know?
That is a hope and a desire. No, I'm just saying. I mean, I hear you, and it's one that I have too. It's a big hope. It's a big desire. I'm about to slap myself. It's a tall order, but it shouldn't be a tall order. I mean, what we're talking about right now shouldn't be something that we're sitting here with our fingers crossed and hoping that we do. It should be something that is done, and one of the ways to get it started is to do the best that you can to do exactly what you're saying, so it can be some type of ripple effect, some type of snowball effect, and people can get back to what they need to get back to, but at the same time stay abreast and on top of the things that are coming up that are helpful now. Combine both worlds, and to me, that's what Black Panther or Wakanda was. It was a combination of what was great then and was going to be great, because Shuri is amazing.
Shuri.
And it was like, wow.
She was great.
And with that being said, just to make a slight segue, and I'm going to stay in that, I'm hoping Disney makes a Wakanda. I mean, I know they're talking about it, but make a World of Wakanda at Disney World.
Yeah,
because that is something.
It's gonna be a destination. It's gonna be a pilgrimage, really.
Yeah. That's where that's where we gonna go.
Yeah.
We're gonna say, let's go. We want some photos there. I'm going.
Yeah.
As soon as it's open. If it's open, I am going.
Yeah.
And it's not too far fetched. So listening to people having issues with that, I'm thinking, well, you're okay with Harry Potter World. You're okay with Jurassic Park. And I love all those things when I'm down there, but
and you don't want a World of Wakanda? Why not?
Yeah, why not? It had everything. The technology, the technical stuff.
Yeah.
They already have the roller coaster built.
Oh, they do?
No, I'm just saying.
Oh,
movie.
Yeah.
So it's ready.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. So talk to me about Black Panther. What just tell me everything.
All right, so Black Panther, loved it. I went in, fingers crossed, hoping that it lived up to the hype because it had hype.
So much hype.
And prior to that, we did a shoot last year, and I was Killmonger. I had an Eric Killmonger.
Yes, I saw that. Nice.
From the comics.
Yes.
So another source that's different from that movie. So I was like, I'm really into this character. I've always been into this character. I was wondering what they were going to do with him in the movies. Honestly, this is one of the first times that some adjustments have been made
to Killmonger.
To Killmonger from the comics to the movies that made it work a little better for me.
I agree.
You agree? Okay, so
I agree.
We don't have to fight.
No,
we don't have to fight.
Not at all. Because I remember reading the comic, and the issue that I had with Killmonger in the comic is that he seemed to be an opposing force to T'Challa, but his motivation were not so clear.
It wasn't clear.
I didn't quite understand why is it that he opposed T'Challa so fearlessly, like so vigorously, And the way they did it in the movie, it makes total sense.
Makes sense, and I actually found myself being sympathetic to him.
To Killmonger, which is
like, man, if they would have left me and killed my father and left me there, like, how would I feel? I could actually relate. Yeah, in the comics,
totally.
I was like, I understood that they exiled his father and stuff, but I'm thinking, for that, since I was in school, he just went into the bully category for me. I'm like, he's a bully.
I see.
And with art, we kind of relate things, even when we're reading our creative stuff, to our lives and what's going on.
Yes,
so
we do.
I don't like bullies. Never have. I'm a fighter for the underdogs.
Right.
Somebody's just mad and jealous. I don't like jealous people.
Yeah.
I'm like, just shut up.
Yeah.
So I just didn't even care.
Yeah.
So I started resonating with Eric Killmonger recently, I think, reading how they were going to do it. And then I was like, I always do heroes in cosplay. So I was like, I want to do a villain.
Yeah.
It's time for me to try to do that.
Yeah.
And I chose him.
Yeah, and people talk about that. I mean, Michael B. Jordan himself says, it's not necessarily a villain, there's a protagonist and an antagonist.
Yeah.
And I love that because when you watch the movie, you're like, is this guy villain? Like, okay, he did some villainous things. Let's not take that away from him. He definitely did. But if you look at his story, and one of my friends' only complaint with the movie is that he wanted Killmonger to speak more. He wanted to hear more from Killmonger. He was like, I wanted to hear more from him, because we didn't hear that much from him.
That's funny.
That was his only thing. Go ahead. I'm going to take care of that.
Yeah, take care of that.
But go ahead. Talk to me about how you felt.
Yeah, I didn't want more from him.
Yeah.
But I thought he gave me just enough. And it was good. And I felt his strife. Like I understood what he was going through. He resolved some issues. He brought Claw back.
He definitely
It's some things he did. I just don't think his reasoning for getting to those things or what he wanted to do with it was a little disruptive. And I know people like that. Like you look at them and they do these 7 things that's great and wonderful, but that 9th and 10th thing, if you do it on a count of 10, it's like corrupt and a little twisted. So he was twisted, but then I could understand he was twisted. You know, he's one of those people that I'm like, okay, maybe he just needs a little therapy. My only complaint about it, and it wasn't a complaint per se, you know, it only slowed down for me a couple of times when they would go to the realm, the dream
ancestral plane.
Yes. And I know we needed that stuff, so I didn't complain about it.
Yeah.
So it slowed down for me there. And then I think I wanted more aggression from M'Baku. You know, and I see that they didn't choose to use the Man-Ape, the name.
And I'm glad.
Which a lot of people are glad.
Yeah, so glad.
So not to play with that.
Yeah.
But
not during this whole alt-right time.
No, and H&M.
Right. Freaking H and fucking M. And like, that's exactly what we were saying earlier. It's like, the people that were creating the content, you know, are all white. All male. Like, it's like when you have a team and your team looks like clones of each other, it didn't work in Star Wars. It ain't gonna work now.
It's not gonna work.
You know?
I work with so many different groups of people in the industry that I am, and they are making decisions for other cultures and races, and they think they are culturally sensitive, but their research and their understanding is based off of limitations. And I'm not saying that they can't get there, but I am saying if you have people there, include them in on the conversation.
Include them in. Just have them in.
Reference them. Get a consultant. I was working with a guy a while ago, love him, and he's a different race. So I was cutting videos because I do promos, and we were using Beat Street, the old show where everybody breakdance.
Okay.
And I put the boombox in and like gave it just a shot by itself. Because anybody that watch Beat Street, you have to have.
You gotta have the boombox, bro. That's
you have to have the boombox. Like that's where it
like,
starts. What?
Right? You put that down, everybody knows what time it is.
So what I love about him is he came down and he was like, "This is really good. I love the promos." But why do you have this boombox just sitting in here? It's just like it's not doing anything. It's sitting there. I turned to him and said, "In my culture, you have to have the boombox, or this whole promo is trash." And he was like, "Okay, I understand it." He was like, "It's good."
Right.
So like with that, I love that about him because he was able to understand that I don't have the answer, but it was chosen, and it must be for a reason.
Right.
So
he was able to trust you.
He was able to trust me, and I don't see that a lot of times with people I work because they tell you it should be this way. They'll choose the music because this is what we like. I'm sitting here as as your target audience, and I'm telling you that I don't.
Yeah.
So why are you telling me that we do? And I don't speak for everybody.
Yeah. But I can give you an insight.
I can give you a little better insight than you can a lot of times.
Yeah.
So it's one of those scenarios. But back to M'Baku, I wanted more aggression from him, and that's only because of what I think I remember from the comics.
Yeah. And even him, in the comics, I was like, I care at nothing for this character. In the comics, I was like, this character could die right now. I would just flip the page. And like, it was nothing. In the film, I'm like,
you care.
I love this guy.
You care. And I'm glad they did that to me.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I still wanted a little more angst. Because I was shocked that he said, I'm sure everybody watched it by now.
By now,
if you haven't seen it by now, shame on you.
You don't even want to see it. That's what it is. If you haven't seen it by now, you don't want to see it. That's the truth.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when he saved him, and he was like, "Oh, we have him," and he wasn't torturing him, and he just had him kind of comfortably laying there. That's one of the only things that threw me off a little because I was expecting him, if he got that opportunity, to either be a little torturous to him or I don't know, to do something to him. But to have him just comfortably laying there and saying, "Hey, I have him," although you didn't let them know that you had him and he was still alive, was just a little off for me as a viewer. But as I dove into it more and saw that I think they built that M'Baku is really about the traditions of it all, and he really wants to best him through the traditions and best him the way that it is written. He should do it.
Exactly.
And he's a man of honor.
That is the one thing I got the most from him, because in my opinion, I would love for, I've been thinking since I watched the movie like 4 times, and like so I thought about a lot of things, and one of the things I thought about is creating content off of this movie. There's a lot of content you can create, spin-offs, other movies you can create. One quick idea you could do is Lone Wolf and Cub. You know Lone Wolf and Cub?
I know Lone Wolf. I don't know Cub.
Okay, so Lone Wolf and Cub was a old Japanese comic book manga about a samurai who ends up leaving. I don't know what he was basically in something like the Yakuza.
Okay,
and
so
he
maybe
ends
I don't
up
know the same Lone Wolf. I must know another Lone Wolf.
and then he ends up leaving, and he has his son.
Okay.
And so the people come after him to kill him. And so every time he encounters, he puts his son down and he fights them. You know what I'm saying? And it's so intense. They even had like like if you go back to the early days of Samurai Jack, there was one episode where they have a reference to Lone Wolf and Cub with Jack is still a kid. It's like he remembers being a kid and he was playing by like some water and there was like a little pond. And then the One Wolf and Cub, they come, and then he sees on the other side of the bridge, there's the samurais coming to kill him. So he puts his son down, and his son goes and stands next to Jack.
That's funny.
And then they both look at the bridge where the dad goes in and takes them out. But you can easily tell that story with Okoye. Yes. Easily tell that story with Okoye. Yes, you know? There's even an anime that they did off of that called, I think, Moribito, and the name of the character is a female called Basa the Spear, and she is as ferocious and talented with the spear as Okoye. You see what I'm saying? You could easily have a story where Okoye maybe has a brother that's like that's not a dog of war, that's a dog of war, and she goes to see that he had also a child and tries to take the child back, and whoever it is that's after him come at and
look at you. I'm telling you, this. That movie, like it's doing for you, gave it. It just opened the door to so much.
Yeah.
What I want people to do is, don't just keep that hype up for now. Like actually use it and cultivate things and grow and create stuff. Marvel was smart. This has created another character that another portion of a portion of the population is drawn to.
Yes.
And you would be smart to have this person show up as much as possible in your universe.
You know, they moved up the release date for Infinity Wars. Because the whole third act takes place in Wakanda.
Why would you be a fool not to move it up?
They were like, man, let's move it up, man. These people want to see more.
Talk about the comic that you might do for her.
Yeah.
The Dora Milaje. You move it up. You have to, strike while it's hot.
Yeah.
And I look at people and I understand that they're thinking dollars and cents. But at the same time, I'm loving that in this embodiment of dollars and cents, it's something that we can be proud of, we can be connected to, we want more of.
Yeah.
I want more.
Yeah. I think the dollars and cents way of looking at it is the short term. If you're looking at it just in terms of how much money it's making, you're just short-sighted. If you look at it in the long run, all these kids, because this has made $1 billion, right? All these kids that watch this, they're not just going to watch it this one time and forget about it.
Oh, no.
They're going to watch this when they're teenagers. They're going to watch this when they're adults. They're going to show this to their kids. The cultural significance is going to resonate past this generation.
Definitely.
And that's what you want, And that's why when you were saying about M'Baku, there's a whole nother movie here that we haven't seen, which is the movie of M'Baku.
I want to know.
Of him first getting ready to challenge because he knows there's a challenge coming, and then losing this, and then now what happens to him?
What happens to him? When does he turn into a person? Does he turn into the comic book version?
Right.
If so, why?
Yeah.
And I actually want to know, which you might can tell me,
Mm-hmm.
why are they divided? Like, how did that? The Jabari, was they Jabari?
Yeah, the Jabaris.
Why are they in their
Separated.
area? Why are they separated?
It was in the very beginning when the first Black Panther became the first Black Panther. The Jabaris decided not to submit.
Okay, so that's
that was a very
okay. So
that's
I
the
knew
reason.
I knew that part. But so that's it. It's just
That's
basically,
it. They decided.
But why did
not
they decide? Not?
That we don't know.
Okay.
And that's what I'm saying. There's so many stories you can tell. Like one of the things, I don't know if it's already out there. I want to see the lineage of Black Panthers.
Yes.
I want to see from the first Black Panther, what was he named, all the way down to T'Challa to Shuri, because Shuri's next in line. So I want to see the lineage, because in the new comic book, if you read it with Ta-Nehisi, one of the things Ta-Nehisi did that I like is that he mentioned other Black Panther by name. So there's a part where T'Challa is not sure he's up to the task of doing what he's about to do, and he's consulting Shuri, and he's like, I don't know if I can do this, I'm not I forgot the name that he said, but he's like, I'm not something, and he said, I'm not Azuri, and I'm not Bashenga, right? And then she says to him, she was like, you don't have to be Shuri, and no one will be Bashenga. Like, no one will ever be as good as Bashenga. So I'm like, who's Bashenga? Is he the first one? Who is Bashenga? Like, true. I want to know, because apparently he was gangster.
It's like, I want you to so much to, that movie was, again, we were talking about wonderment earlier. We were talking about watching something at this stage with all of our... Because you got to admit, as adults now, we have all of our hang-ups, all of our hiccups.
We do.
All of our, that's not going to impress me. We are in a culture of people that are very hard on everything.
Yeah, we are. On ourselves, on a lot of things.
On stuff on the TV. I mean, we shut down the Wonder Woman pilot. The young lady that was going to do Wonder Woman. I mean, we all spoke out so loudly and strongly about it. That poor lady didn't get a chance to see her show come live.
She didn't.
And we are very opinionated. Yeah. So to go to a place and watch it, or to a movie and watch it, and actually come out of there and say, I really love it.
Like that.
Yeah, like, and then and even hear some of the biggest... what's the word I'm looking for? People that look for things to go wrong.
Yeah, biggest critics.
Biggest critics, yeah. They say, the only thing that I could... Like, when they started off and it's soft like that, as opposed to just coming and pummeling, I was like, this is great. Like, you took the time, and, kudos to Marvel for taking a chance on some people who worked on some other things and didn't just go into that batch of usual suspects.
And I don't know who at Marvel was in charge, like the producers that were behind this movie, but I do know that whoever they were aware. Because you remember, before this movie came out, there was a lot of going back and forth between a few different directors. All of them were black. They went to Ava DuVernay. They went they were like, we know what we want, and we gotta find someone that can do it. You see what I'm saying? They did not just throw it to the next person. They went to Ava DuVernay. She couldn't do it, and then he went to what's his name? The guy that did the Dr. Dre movie, the Straight Outta Compton. He couldn't do it, and then they found Ryan Coogler, which was like, I can do it. And here I heard Ryan Coogler speak on, and part of I say to my friends that this movie is also a treasure map, if you will, right? It's a treasure map on how to get to Wakanda. If you look at how this movie was made, that is a treasure map to get to Wakanda, right? Because it was, and Wakanda being that nirvana for black folks, for our folks. You know what I'm saying? We want to get to that utopia. Even if that utopia may not be realistic, something close to that utopia for us. You know what I'm saying? Where we can finally be us without any sort of oppression or anything coming with it. So you look at it, at every step, it was a collaborations of Africans and African Americans. Mm-hmm. Do you see what I'm saying? And I had some American friends that had some criticism to say about this movie, and I told them, you are only looking at it from the lens of an African American. You don't know what this movie is doing to Africans. Do you see what I'm saying? Because the story, it tells of an African American cousin and an African cousin facing each other. Mm-hmm. So now you have Africans looking like, oh, this is us. Like, we look at Black Panther like, this is us. Mm-hmm. What he's saying is addressing us. Do you see what I'm saying? When he looks at his ancestors in the ancestral plane scene and he says, you're wrong. You are all wrong. Yeah, he's talking to us.
Love that.
You know? He's talking to us and telling us we abandoned y'all. Mm-hmm. And he's saying we were wrong to do so. So he will not continue, and he will do what needs to be done. Mm-hmm. He will correct the wrong that his ancestors have done.
That division, that separation that some people have. I love that he was like, as a king, I'm going to do what I can to bridge this gap. Because I love you, but it wasn't right.
It wasn't right.
And I don't think it's right, and I'm changing.
Yeah, so, and even in African culture, it's big to do something like that. To even, like, first to your parents, it's big to do something like that, you know? Let alone, he was standing in front of all the ancestors.
That could have kept him there, took him out.
Yeah, you know? All the ancestors, he had the guts, the balls to say to all of them, you all were wrong, and that's intense. That's very intense.
That's great. What I like what you said is someone, like you said, we don't know who, got it, and as they on the level for the movie picked out people who would do the research, who were connected, who were of the right frame of mind and the right race to do what needs to be done and to want to do a good job.
That's very true.
Even when we get to the Marvel Becoming, they sought out costume designer Walter Jane of Dean's List to make the recreations of everything. And smart. Like, he kills it. He killed it. He and
what did he work on?
He actually he redid the Dora Milaje. He and Tanya was of Thrill Builds. They redid it, and when I say they slayed, it is spot
perfect
on.
Yeah,
and you know, from my understanding, those costumes are going to be displayed in a museum somewhere.
That is awesome.
But like, to find these two creators, these two African American woman and African American men, and that are doing wonderful things already, to have the insight to say, I'm going to reach out to them,
to those people
to get this done.
And put them in. And that's the thing. I like I said, it's a metaphor. It's a metaphorical map for us to get to where we need to get to. There needs to be a collaboration between both parties, the African and the African American parties. We need to reach into the community and do it. You know what I'm saying? And I think when it's for something as big as this, people will come. People will do it. You know, people love it. I have a shirt that says University of Wakanda, and I wear it from time to time. And every time I do, I get the Wakanda salute from just random black people. I just be walking down the street and someone be like, hey, man, and it just give me the salute.
Which is another thing. Now we have the Wakandan
We have the salute.
Now. One thing that I loved about the movie that, just as a content creator myself, that other people probably could care less about. I know.
I mean, it's time for it. This is
time to discuss it.
You're the guest.
You guys want to know?
Right.
No,
let's do it.
Loved when America talked about Wakanda, and when they showed the images of it on their TV screens, and when they were like, oh, Wakanda, they had these, Wakanda was smart enough to have these images of just in poverty or
third world country,
third world, desolate, and
sheep herders and stuff like that.
That for me spoke volumes, because I just come from a world where I'm not the one that you have to put all your stuff out on the table.
Sure.
because it's not about impressing someone else to say, hey, you have it. It's about making moves and doing what you need to do. And that made me laugh so hard in the movie because I'm like, these people are like, yeah, we don't have to worry about them. They don't have nothing. We might help them.
Yeah.
We might go there, whatever. And, they pat themselves on the back if they send some water or whatever they were doing. Yeah. And behind this smoke screen,
you got all of this power.
All of that going on that they didn't know about.
Yeah.
And I was like, I love that.
Yeah.
And it's like a sleeper cell or somebody who you don't expect. And I guess I kind of just love that about people and things. So that was one of those things I was watching. I was like, yeah.
It was definitely very well done. I'm so glad it did it. There's so many things I could talk about, and I keep talking about from this film. But I just want people to know that the biggest impact this film is going to have is definitely not money. It's cultural.
It's cultural.
It's cultural. Mm-hmm. It's going to affect the way Africans think of African Americans, definitely, because that's one thing growing up in Africa that I did not understand the African American. Do you see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I got here and I understood the African American better. I understand hip hop better. I understand what is hip hop. Everything, all of that just makes so much more sense to me now. But just to throw something out there, for example, if you see stuff without context, you lose it. I saw Menace to Society when I was in Ivory Coast. No context whatsoever. And I see that and I'm like, what is going on?
Like we are savages.
What is happening? And then it's like especially coming from a French speaking country, hip hop, I love hip hop, but I did not quite understand what they were saying until I started to listen and then understand. But yeah, that's it. That one thing I'll make it my mission. My mission will be to help bring context to the African about the African American. Because in order for that understanding to happen, our side, and I'm speaking about the African side, needs to understand what happened after those ships left. We need to understand.
I'm on your team with that.
We gotta know everything that happened after that.
I have to tell you, in college, I because my name is African and French, it's Jabaki Ate. So I'm like, it was always instilled in me, and I'm like, I can't wait when we're gonna visit, what we're gonna do. I'm just like, I'm French, I'm African, I'm all this stuff. So I went to college, and when people would come from different places that I wanted to visit, or thought that I had ancestors in, I was absolutely enamored. I was not absolutely welcomed. By some of those scenarios. It wowed me. I was so lost and confused. But go ahead.
Yeah, because what we were told about African Americans is that African Americans did not like us, and then African Americans, from what I heard, a lot of them were told that we do not like them. So on both sides, there was kind of like this, they don't like us type of thing. And I think over the time it's definitely gone away because, if you go on a college campus now and there's a bunch of African student unions, when they throw a party, Africans and African Americans are there.
Yes.
Do you see what I'm saying? And Americans dance to our music the same way we dance to their music now. And they listen to our artists the way we listen to their artists now. So I think on college campuses what's happening right now is that a lot of Africans... It's merging.
That stigma of whoever they is, everyone, they have ruined a lot of things. I'm talking about this... that they in almost every area.
Yeah.
Because we never, in my life, I don't know who those people are in a lot of scenarios. They said or they decided, regardless of what area of life I'm in. But that group of people are treacherous because they've caused a lot of havoc. So
you talking about
I'm sick of that. Whoever they are.
Yeah, whoever they are.
But luckily, I am seeing more. I'm talking to my younger cousins and things like that, and I'm hearing more of a mix and understanding and a wanting to get to know
each other.
things.
And the internet has done a lot of that too. Because it's easy
helped.
for you to follow someone from Nigeria now. You can just go on Instagram and follow someone from Nigeria, you know, or someone from Ghana or someone from Ethiopia. You can easily do that now, you know, and so I think a lot of that is bridging the gap. And I think the main thing that's bridging the gap right now is the music, because because even though we've been separated from what I've seen, it's like a carbon copy. Like, Africans love to dance. Mm-hmm. It's part of every culture. Men dance, women dance, kids dance, grown-ups dance. Like, we dance.
It's revitalizing.
It's what we do.
It's what we do. It's something you can do with the family. It's recharging. It's revitalizing.
We have it for every situation.
Actually, I look at a lot of cultures and they really get into dancing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's amazing when I've read certain things about some cultures or places that ban dancing and music. That's interesting to me. Yeah. But you know, there's that. But then what I'm noticing is that a lot of the things that we do, African Americans do. And you know, even like it's hard to explain. Matriarchal families, leaving your shoes at the door before you enter the house, like a lot of certain just tiny little things. I'm like, these things are very similar, and I don't know if both sides know that about each other. You know what I'm saying? And I think if you don't take the time to get to know other people, get to embrace other people, think out the box. If you, like we were talking about in cosplay earlier, even in cultures, if you sit and say my way is the only way, you are not going to live your best life.
It's not.
You're not going to expand. Like I said, when I was younger, I was everywhere. Like, I wanted to know as much as I could, and that way I could tell you intelligently, or from experience at least, I won't say intelligently, that I didn't like that, or I didn't appreciate that, or I don't like to do it that way.
Because you got to experience enough.
Yeah, because I would go eat at my different friends' houses, and if they were strict about the way you ate, or their culture, or traditions, I followed suit.
To learn.
I wanted to know what it was. I wanted to know the food. I wanted to know the culture to the best of my ability. And if I said, that wasn't for me, or that felt restrictive, or I didn't like that, I could at least speak from my experience and not just say it's wrong or I don't like it. Because it can't be wrong. I'm not going to say it can't be wrong, but millions of people are doing it. So how dare I tell you it's not the right thing.
It's kind of an arrogant position to
take.
It's
very arrogant.
I see what you mean. I see what you mean.
I just didn't want to walk that walk.
Yeah.
But I'm very proud of Black Panther. I'm very proud of Black Lightning.
We haven't even spoke about Black Lightning.
I'm like, do what you do. I'm gonna tell you,
Black Lightning is good.
It's good. It's good. I am finally back in a space where the DVR doesn't control my life, because I want to see it when it comes on. I'm mad that I have to wait a week for that next episode. I
agree with you. I agree with you. Like, with every episode that comes out, I'm like, I really enjoy this show. Like, I'm really enjoying this show. And you know what? Black Lightning is the type of thing that hopefully it keeps going for a few seasons, it gets syndicated, right? And then they can send it, like, different countries can purchase it. And this is the type of show that will become like a cultural thing,
I think so.
in Africa. Like, if you play this show in Africa, it will become a cultural thing. People will go and love this show. Do you see what I'm saying? I don't know how to say this one. I can just see it resonating. I can see it resonating.
They address things so well for me. Even some of the things that I want to do, he does. Like, the ability, if somebody's being racist or saying something out of sorts, and he like, what? And just shock them. I'm like, you know, a lot of times we want to just be like, what? You know, you can't, but you just want to do something, and he's doing, I'm just looking at it like, wow. And then he's so polished, and he's so...
It's like an Obama, really.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
The actor Chris Williams is amazing.
Perfect.
Chris Williams, if you're listening to this, love you.
The man.
Call me.
He's
Come
doing
see
his
me.
thing.
Been a fan for a long time, ever since Living Single.
Yeah,
but
Living Single.
The character and the fact that we now have 2 more African American women, because I love powerful women.
Yo,
And I love that we are getting more characters.
in both these stories, Black Panther and Black Lightning feature a cast of just beautiful black women.
Beautiful black
They're
women.
just they handle their business.
Mm-hmm.
They just handle their business, and I love it.
Smart.
I love it.
Smart. Like, finally, we waited a long time. I'm not saying that people didn't do it before. There are some things that were missed. But finally, some things have made it to the main attention of the masses. We'll put it that way.
This adoration is spelling out some things that weren't as spelled out before.
Right.
You know,
because before we were more the black women. Exotic, beautiful. Sometimes. Well, it took a long time to get to that.
To that
when
point.
it got to that, it was like, okay, all right, that's what they are.
Yeah.
This experience, but now to have the beauty alongside the brain and the ingenuity and the skill set, it's like, wow.
It's nice. I'm not gonna lie. Like I'm looking at it, I was like we could just. Looking at Black Panther, when I saw Angela Bassett as Queen Ramona, I was like, why did it take this long for Angela Bassett to be put in a role like this? Like, why did it take this long? She looks like she belongs in this gear all the time.
All the time. She's regal. She's
all the time. Every
regal.
time I see her now, I want to see her like that. Like, because it works. It's just brilliant. And we didn't even talk about Shuri. And then if you jump in Black Lightning, I love the mom.
Oh,
like, the mom is...
She is the epitome of just everything.
She's everything.
I love... And, I've been a fan of hers as well. She has played in some shows that I just adored her in, and she's such a versatile actress.
Yeah.
One of my favorite roles of hers was in... I forgot the name of the show. It was the guy who could bring people back to life. After you ate his pie or something.
Oh, what's it called? Pushing Daisies.
Pushing Daisies.
I remember that.
And Pushing Daisies, she was amazing.
I don't remember what role she played.
She was the one that would come in and she was the dog trainer, but she just trained people.
Oh.
Remember she was just not perfect.
Oh,
Did you not love her?
Oh my God. It just connected in my head. Damn!
That's her.
I'm gonna have to go back and watch that. That was a good show.
That show was good.
And they cut it off.
And I don't even think they expected to give her as much as she got, but she
did so well.
So good that character, like, she could have had a spinoff
by herself. Yeah.
I would have watched it.
Yeah.
So I'm looking at people like her, and I'm just so drawn, and I think that's what it is. That cast, whoever took the time to put that together.
Oh yeah, again with a lot of care.
And again, I had my little silly reservations.
Yeah,
I'm like, Chris Williams, and I'm like, because I get stuck on. I'm constantly drilled with it should be young.
Yeah.
And I'm glad for me, and I don't know if you liked it, like the last X-Men, they geared it to such a youthful audience.
Yeah.
It just didn't hit for me.
Yeah.
And as you stated earlier, so many things are high school, and that's nice, and I get it, because the thought process in our world, in my world that I work in, is get the people early so you can hold them for the next 4 to 5 years. But at the same time, I'm not trying to see high school students sleeping with the teachers and doing all of this stuff. At least take me to college. Make them legal.
Yeah, take it to college.
Make them legal.
And yeah.
So at first I was like, okay, Chris Williams, love him. Heart of Dixie, loved it. I mean, I watch everything he's in. But I was like, is he schooled a little older than it would need to be schooled for this show?
Because a lot of people want a Static Shock.
Yeah, a lot of people want a Static Shock. But then I was thinking, wait a minute, shut up. I love that they're going 10 years later. He retired. He's coming out of retirement.
That's the part that started.
They wrote that in.
Yeah.
They killed it with that.
Yeah.
And with that, we get 2 more characters
That's the
in
part.
there, so I need to shut up.
Yeah, that's the part that caught me too. Yeah, I was like,
up.
wait a minute. You know, when I read, I was like, oh, so he's coming back. And his daughter's already grown. I was like,
Yeah.
okay, so we're gonna see some black women
Yes.
with the power.
With the power.
All right, I'm down.
And skip that whole baby, you know, you're a kid and we have a baby. Like, skip that. Just automatically get us into it.
Right into
she
it.
in high school, the other one graduated. Shit.
Perfect.
Like, thank you guys for, you know, not staying in the box and listening to people like me that would have been like, let's make him young.
Even because I don't think originally his older daughter was a lesbian. I didn't think she was.
Well, you know what?
Was she?
I don't know when she became a lesbian, but in the comics, they a few years ago it was introduced that she was.
Oh, okay.
So that is something.
Because I haven't been reading the comics of that.
So that is something from the comics.
Oh, okay.
She's been a lesbian, and interestingly enough, they brought in Grace in the show, which was the bartender.
Right.
And she is an Amazon.
Oh.
Yeah. So she's from the Mascara.
Oh.
Or she has connections to the Mascara. So
right, because this is DC Universe,
DC,
yeah.
so that's who she ends up being in
with.
and out of relationships. So it was interesting that they put Grace Choi in there because Grace is another character that when they brought her into the comic, I was like, wow, you know, it's a very, very good look. It's stern. Like, she always has on a tank top. She tatted up.
Yeah.
They took another angle in the show.
Yeah, they made her more librarian, chill.
But I'm like, wow. So when they introduced it so quickly, I was like, they killing it.
Yeah.
So she was lesbian in the comics for a long time.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I did not know. See, I wasn't reading Black Lightning comics, so I didn't know.
Yeah.
So when I saw it, I was like, oh, son. Like, I was like, okay, now we're doing it, you know? Like,
you gotta introduce everything because guess what, people?
There.
Anyone listening, there's just too many different moving parts of this world. Everybody wants to be represented.
Right.
Everybody wants to be seen.
And it makes more sense because and a lot of we gotta stop, you know, where it's already time.
Oh my goodness! You told me
I told you it goes really quickly.
This is ridiculous.
So we gotta stop.
Okay.
One thing I was
we
gonna
gotta
say,
come back.
Well, definitely. So
back.
one thing I was gonna say is that part of the reason why I started reading comics from Image Comics is that they let like creators create the stories they want to create, right?
Yeah.
And then they kind of like do a publishing deal with them. And when you read Image Comics, when we were talking about women and the way they look in like Marvel and DC, if you read Image has a comic book called Bitch Planet.
Wow.
And it is so good on so many levels. And when you look at the way the women are drawn, first of all, the artist, like the writer is a woman, right?
Nice.
So already, and then she just hits you with these concepts. And it's a world that's like, you remember Stepford Wives?
Yes.
It's like a whole world of Stepford Wives.
That's interesting.
And it's built into the law. Do you see what I'm saying? So if you, as a woman, decided today you don't want to wear makeup, you don't want to get your hair done, you just want to go out and do your thing, you'll get arrested if you don't comply.
Whoa.
It's insane. I mean, it's insane, literally. Yeah. And so they put these women that decide not to comply with society on this space station that's a prison that they nickname Bitch Planet.
I'll tell you.
Right.
Creativity, but you know what? That's going to be something that grows. I mean, when people have a little freedom, it is really good because we run from these words and these phrases, but they're not necessarily as negative as some of us make them.
Right.
It was a show that was on, I think it was called GCB. Loved it because it was from a book. And I wish I could tell you the name, but it was something like Southern Bitches or something. But it was a comedy about people in the South who were basically really mean and nice, nasty, just older, mean girls in the church and stuff. And good Christian bitches. That's what it was. So it was called GCB. So
that's funny.
It's a show called GCB.
Right.
Because they shortened it to GCB.
Yeah. The premise is already funny. I want to see this.
Good Christian bitches. And that show was good, but people couldn't handle it.
Oh, come on!
I think it might have gotten one season.
They were looking in the mirror. That's what it is.
That reflection was rough.
That's what it is.
That reflection was
rough. They were
rough.
looking and seeing themselves, and they did not like that.
They didn't like it. And I'm like, dang. Because I was glued to that show because it actually went behind all of that smiling and all of these things that people do to supposedly be so sweet.
Yeah.
So I actually love it when people get the opportunity to kind of just branch out and pull you in with stuff like that.
Yeah, so
this is awesome.
Yeah, Image. It has so many different comics like that where they turn everything on its head, you know, and it's I love that. I love that concept, and I just love it. You know, I love it because if you go out there in a city like New York or Atlanta and you just take a bunch of people and random. Not all of them will be straight. Not all of them will be black.
No.
Not all of them will be men. It doesn't work like that. So when you do it in the stories because this is really about the stories that we tell each other, you know. And if the stories don't reflect life,
right,
you hurt yourself in the end.
Real life is a cross section of everything,
Yep.
And as we see in the people that are trying to act like it's not, they're getting caught doing some things that they shouldn't get caught on. Like one man doing some things in his office that he didn't need to do. Like you at work, bro. Like you at work.
And then there's the one thing I get into discussion with some guys sometimes, and like straight guys, and I tell them, I'll be like, and they be like, but see what he was trying to do. I was like, okay, let's say let's say that. They'll tell me stuff like, he was just making an advance. He was just trying to get her number or whatever. And I'll be like, that's fine at a bar.
Yeah.
But you're at work, bro.
You're at work.
Focus on work. You know what I'm saying?
And then if we even fast forward to some of that one guy who was anti-LGBTQ, who spoke out against it, but he decided to have sex with a guy at work.
Isn't that always? There's always. I think it's always. It's funny why they do this. Like it's always a lot of the guys that are like hardcore conservative, and they always push that hard line, and then you'll be like one of the guys was like super pro-life, and then you find out that he had he cheated on his wife, and she got pregnant and forced her to have an abortion. What happened to you? What happened to your pro-life, bro?
They kill me with that, and
I don't know.
Sometimes
I don't know.
It goes back to that line, doth protest too much, and that's another line. I hold on to these little things.
Yeah.
You know, no more masterpieces. Doth protest too much. I hold on to these things that have actually helped me navigate life in a lot of ways, and that's one of them because, in my experience, someone that protests too much against something is usually
there's something in there,
or trying to divert you, and it's been proven time and time again in my experience. So I just look at them and I'm like, okay, well, what else? Because you're just trying to give me the smoke screen for life,
so that people don't realize what's going on. Yeah, I mean I guess the lesson is live your truth.
Live your life.
Live your truth, man.
And that way you have a ripple effect and other people can live their life and you won't hurt. I mean, everybody's not going to like what you do.
Yeah,
but
that's definitely true.
We can make educated decisions, and therefore I won't be sitting next to you thinking it's this way and it's not. Live your life, and I either get in line with it or I don't, especially if you're not hurting people, purposely hurting people and stuff. But live your best life, especially when you're doing like we're trying to do. You're doing this podcast. I appreciate it. I'm here with Attacking the Blurred, doing our thing. Before we end, I want to give you something.
Oh, appreciate it.
Because it's what I do. So this is something from Cosplay Your Way.
Oh, nice, man.
Yeah, so go and pull it out. Got your little...
Yo!
I want you to be a part of the Cosplay Your Way movement.
Appreciate it. You know what? Thank you. Thank you, because... thank you. I definitely... Okay, I got you. I'm definitely going to do this, because I've only cosplayed twice in my life.
Oh, we gotta get you more.
And now that I got this hairstyle and Killmonger came out and from the movie, I'm like, I got some camo pants, I got some black boots. All I need to do is get this chest piece, the chest plate,
and you doing what? You killing it.
And I'm there. But yeah, definitely, I love this. I love this. I really hope that, you know, over the years, the more we the years go, the more we go to these conventions, I see more and more people, you know, of color, you know, jumping in and just having fun, you know, being themselves, you know,
and remembering to support one another, embrace one another.
Yes,
it is a hobby. Everyone, it is not to go out here and put somebody down, or step on them to get up. Like, let's have fun. Everything's a work in progress. Mm-hmm. That costume, that cosplay, your first cosplay, if you did it again this year, you would make changes to it and adjustments.
Improve a little thing.
Even better this year. Yeah. It'll be even better from con to con. So I just want people to, this is a sanctuary, what we're in, what we do. Mm-hmm. You should go there, I hope, to have fun, meet people, make bonds, enjoy yourself, and express yourself, and live without limitations. You don't get to do that often. We're limited in so many places.
I think that's part of the things that I like about our tribe, even though we're part of several different tribes, you know. But as nerds, one thing that I love about our tribes is that it's like we haven't lost the ability to. We're still in touch with our inner child, you know, and that's the one thing I love the most about the nerd tribe is that we're still in touch with that kid that watched the Goonies the first time or like that saw Transformers. You know, we're still in touch with that person, and we think that person has value to bring to our lives, and a lot of people don't feel that way, you know, but I like that about our tribe, and sometimes I just hope that we embrace each other more. You know, just more.
But this is a start.
Yeah,
because this is, you know, met you.
Yeah,
wonderful energy.
Definitely.
Just have not forgotten you since the first time I met you. And you know, could have been one of those things where we're like, yeah, okay, cool,
and that's it.
And that's it. We kept in contact. Yeah, this has been a long time coming.
Saw each other at different cons.
Yeah, like I wanted to get here. We kept missing each other, but I'm like, you on my radar. Like, this is what I want. Yeah. I want to come back. I like talking to you. I'm like, this is how we start putting our money where our mouth is, or we start walking in that path that we're talking about. Yeah. Because it takes people like us to get that synergy and that inertia going, and hopefully that is spread. Right. Like the movies that are coming out and the different things. I think Black Panther, Black Lightning, some other shows, they're changing the way things are done. They're changing that whole concept of what Black people will do, and can you have a cast of all African Americans? Can you have a cast of all Hispanic? Yes. The answer to all of that is yes. Yeah. You can have a cast of all something. Just do great stories.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't say anything more. So, on that note, we will end this podcast here. Thank you for listening to another episode of Attack of the Blurs. We'll try to be more current with these and everything. Jabbar, do you have anything else you want to promote? Anything you want people to know?
Yeah, you know what? Follow me on my social media pages.
Definitely.
You follow me at Barr Foxx, BarrFoxx on Instagram, Barr Foxx Cosplay on Facebook, and Barr Foxx, BarrFoxx on Twitter. And we have some great things coming up this year, so follow Cosplay Your Way as well on Instagram. And you know, you'll see us at MomoCon. You'll see us at a lot, potentially BlurCon. A lot of places coming up, and come say hello. I want to see your cosplay. Ask me questions. Talk to me, because I'm here for you. I want people to embrace this. I don't want it to die down. I don't want to see burnout. I want to see the evolution of all of this, and I look forward to seeing all of you soon.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for listening to the episode of Attack of the Blurs. Hopefully, we'll see you next week. Peace.